Alright, I thought this could be an interesting idea for a video. We always talk about with young players, usually young quarterbacks, how much situation matters and how good can they be in specific situations. And usually we talk about wide receivers as ways to help out the situation. But one thing I thought of is listen, playing wide receiver is still very much a team sport. There are moments like, the play you see on the screen right here with Malik Nabers. It's a one-on-one matchup on the outside here. These are kind of the plays you think about when you think about, are you a number one receiver, is can you win in these spots? Watch how when Jaden Daniels takes the snap, he looks over towards the top of the screen, and you see right here, Nabers is, not generated a ton of separation, but what he is doing is he's so explosive, he's essentially forcing the corner who's covering him to have to get to a top speed just to keep up with him. So Nabers cuts because he knows where he's running and the corner doesn't, and you see how open he gets, and essentially got so open he was able to make a move and run past that Auburn player. And not just that, but now he's in open space, and he's also really dangerous in open space. You see him be able to pick up a ton of yards after the catch before, a couple Auburn players finally get together and say, okay, enough is enough, and bring him down. This stuff is really, good, but I do kind of wonder sometimes, aren't teams just going to double team him all the time? It doesn't always work out that way. I remember Jamar Chase didn't get double teamed a lot as a rookie, even though it was clearly the right strategy, just because sometimes people don't respect rookies so much. But with the Giants, they don't have a ton of receiving talent around Nabers to take some of the attention off of him, right? You have Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson, guys who can, Isaiah Hodgins, guys who have shown flashes for sure, but not really a consistent number two guy. And it does feel like you could see him getting some extra attention. And in today's video, that's really what I want to focus on, is how will he be able to still make an impact even if he is the clear-cut number one option. And there's certainly ways you can still have him make an impact. For one thing, something like this, just get him the ball, right? Have him run a wide receiver screen. That's what's happening on this play, which I do think the Giants would be smart to do a decent amount of. Just get the ball in his hands as much as you can. Look at how when Daniels takes a snap and quickly flips it over to Nabers, there is a Army player who's in position to make a play. Granted, it's Army, right? We're not talking about, we're not talking about Georgia or anything, but still, it's a college level player, right? But you see how Nabers is going to just blow by him and blow by some other guys as well. Somehow picks up a ton of yards on that play. This is the kind of stuff he can do. Again, will it be tougher to get that many yards at the NFL level? Of course. But do I think he can still pick up a good amount of yards at the NFL level doing stuff like this? Yes. And this is one of the many ways you can still have him make an impact. You can also just get a bit more creative. Stuff like this, where it's going to be a zone coverage play. You see the two routes on the screen. Neither of those are Nabers' route. Those are essentially two setup routes, kind of. That's what Nabers is doing. He's in motion, so hopefully you're not getting as much attention when you're in motion as opposed to when you're just starting out wide. It kind of doesn't give defenders as long to pay attention to where you are. And you see that once Daniels takes the snap, that right here, Nabers is open. Not wide open or anything, but he is open. It took just that half second to realize where he is. So getting creative can be a way to get him open and get the ball in his hands and use his great, explosiveness, because one other aspect is these plays are easier to work when you have a receiver getting to that spot pretty quickly. And if the corner on that side of the field crashed in to cover Nabers, you would have had another receiver open too. So sometimes it's the thing where it's like, okay, yes, you should be covering the top receiver, but if you're just running away to cover the top receiver, you're abandoning your assignment and someone else is getting open. Here, Daniels throws a nice ball. They're able to get a touchdown. Again, this is the kind of stuff I could see the Giants trying to do, is maybe be a little bit more creative in scheming him open. That makes sense to me. And also going over here, I really think what the Giants should do as well is when you get these opportunities, like something like this, where he's running it's a man coverage play, pay no attention to those yellow circles. That's the broadcast, put that on the screen. But the yellow route, that is going to be Nabers' route, the deep shot down the field. You see that when Daniels takes the snap, that he looks over, and right here, Nabers gets the inside leverage. The safety is not quite over in position to make a play. He was covering the other receiver, which, again, That's kind of part of what we're talking about, right? How often will you get this opportunity with the Giants? Because, how often do they have Brian Thomas Jr. on the other side of the field or someone else who can get that attention? Well, maybe not as often, but it won't happen 0 times. And when it does, Daniels on this one throws the ball deep down the field. Nabers gets wide open. Again, it's not like defenses in college didn't realize Malik Nabers was good, right? They were still trying to put attention on him. It doesn't happen every time. So when you get your opportunities, take advantage of them. That's absolutely a part of all this. But also, I think about negatives. This is something that I think is fair to bring up is, listen, Nabers is so good and Marvin Harrison Jr. is so good that trying to differentiate the two really came down to nitpicking for sure. But one of the nitpicks that I and many others saw with Nabers' game is he wasn't a contested catch monster. In my opinion, when you kind of ran these fade routes that were designed, he has to make a tough catch before the play even starts kind of plays, he was usually pretty good at that. But when there was kind of these maybe more awkward plays, things not running perfectly, that's sometimes where I don't even want to say struggled, just wasn't elite at where he was elite at other stuff. So this play, good example, it's zone coverage. Daniels is going to take the snap, Nabers is going to run, and he's in a gap in coverage, right? For sure, there is a window for this throw to be made. Daniels makes the throw, and it's a bit far, and Nabers isn't quite able to make that grab. And that was on a 3rd down and 5, so they could have had a 1st down right there. Again, they played Army. It didn't matter. But, still, it's something you would have liked to see You would have liked to see him come down with that grab, for sure. This is maybe the one thing that you could look at and say, okay, maybe not, I would say, is a negative, but just let's be honest. The Giants haven't had elite quarterback play recently. Daniel Jones has, at times, played pretty well, I think. I don't think he's been 2 years ago, he was a solid quarterback. He's, struggled to stay healthy, for sure, had his injuries, and certainly had inconsistent games as well. Did not look very good last year in his, 326 snaps, but again, with small sample size, all that. But I do wonder that, if he's healthy or if it's someone else that comes in due to injury, like Tommy DeVito, there might be some missed throws that that Nabers is going to have to maybe get a little better at being a little bit more uncomfortable, not to mention just there's good defenses. What happens when a defender kind of knocks you out of position, stuff like that. At the end of the day, I actually do think it's probably fair to say that, there are probably wide receivers who are going into better situations than Malik Nabers. I think that's reasonable. Although, the flip side is, hey, he'll be a number 1 target. He'll get, those options, and he'll get a coaching staff doing what they can to scheme him open, which is also an important aspect, which can help, because if you're starting as a wide receiver 3, you might not get the benefits of being the clear-cut number 1 as well. I still think it would help Nabers to have maybe some more attention getting drawn off of him, but at the end of the day, I just think he's successful enough that he's going to succeed. So while there are maybe some nitpicks you could look at, even the nitpicks, they feel like nitpicks. They don't feel like really harsh criticisms or anything like that. If you ask me, do I think Malik Nabers is going to succeed with the New York Giants? My answer is absolutely yes, but I just thought it'd be a fun video to kind of break down, the counter arguments and stuff like that. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.